Last Clue is a true crime podcast presented by Smith Media Team, LLC. We focus on cases that did not receive the media attention they deserved and cold cases where family and friends desperately need closure. From small towns to international destinations, over 100 countries and almost 10,000 cities, from Anchorage to Atlanta and from Zurich to Zanzibar, always keep searching for the last clue.
Follow the last clue, down where the light never reached. Every stray detail, every voice nobody believed. We keep the tape rolling for the ones they walk past. Follow the last clue till the truth looks right.
This evening, we are going to start with some updates in the Joe Powell case. For those that don't recall, Joe was a 23-year-old college student at the University of Oklahoma who was on his way home from an evening out with friends after a rugby game in March of 2025, where there was an altercation and he was struck and killed with a fist.
Went to the hospital for multiple days.
Yes.
Was touch and go for a lot of those. So a friendly night out turned into a tragic event. As you may recall, if you've listened to this podcast, we covered the Joe Powell case for 10 episodes last year, starting in August, and even had an update in March of this year. So the back catalog is there if you want to listen more about the Joe Powell podcast and get some insight as to exactly what happened. One of our most listened to podcasts of all time.
Yes, and we took you from front to back in that case, right up to the breaking news of the arrests. So where we stand right now is we are in civil trial, civil court for this one. And currently, as of July 30th, we'll just read you the summary. Counsel for plaintiffs and for defendants appear for the hearing on motions to dismiss. After review of the written briefs and oral arguments, the court grants defendant City of Norman's motion to dismiss plaintiff's claim for punitive damages, but denies the motion to dismiss plaintiff's other claims. So the City of Norman is still on the hook and will need to go further within this trial to see if they are still liable for compensatory damages and such, but they are off the hook right now for punitive damages.
And this is in the middle of, let's paint you a picture here. This case is in Cleveland County District Court. Cleveland County is in the dead center of Norman, Oklahoma. So they have dismissed the City of Norman's claim for punitive damages.
Only
punitive, but have denied the motion to dismiss the plaintiff's other claims. Now, if you've listened to this podcast for more than 5 minutes, you know that when we covered the Joe Powell case, there were a lot of inconsistencies. I really feel like this is going to be the next one. I don't see this ending the way that the Powell family wants because of this being in Cleveland County District Court. And if you've listened to this podcast for 10 minutes or more, you know that I have said over and over, and you have said this as well, if Dateline ever decided to open up a satellite office, they could open one up in Oklahoma City and Tulsa because there's enough crime here to cover them for several years. They could go down a complete rabbit hole of all of the stuff that we see on a daily basis.
That's very, very true. So while in the same hearing here, Sideline Bar and Grill, which is one of the establishments that Joe was at, their motion to dismiss was also denied. So we still have City of Norman and Sideline Bar and Grill on the hook for compensatory damages and potentially punitive damages for Sideline Bar and Grill. So this remains to be seen.
Now, from where I stand, I've lived in that world before, the nightclub, bar, entertainment world. I think that this is all, unfortunately, this is all going to fall back on the staff. You know what they say, shit rolls downhill.
Hot's on the left, cold's on the right, shit rolls downhill.
And I just think that this is going to eventually roll to whomever the staff members were that night, because I know that in other states, it is up to the server or bartender to make the call on whether someone should be served. If someone seems to be too intoxicated to get another beverage, you have that power, you have that right to say, no, I'm cutting you off. And if you have proper staff, which any restaurant, bar, etc. should, then at that point, if it becomes an issue, you call in the, lack of a better term, security staff, bouncers, whatever you want to call it, and you say this person needs to be removed from the property.
And I understand that point. I understand that completely. But hello, accountability. And speaking of, I'll be interested to see where the city of Norman goes with this, because if you watch or listen to the body cam footage from the night that Joe was struck and hit, and how the men involved lied,
and women.
Yes. But how the officers handled that entire situation was just inhumane.
And let me interject here. If you listen to that podcast, you know that the city of Norman did not discipline, did not suspend any of the officers involved in the Joe Powell incident. None of them were disciplined. None of them were suspended. There were no
ramifications,
it
no
didn't seem
accountability.
like there were no repercussions for any of those officers. So in the mind of the city of Norman, those officers did what they were supposed to do. We both feel like, I don't want to speak for both of us, but we both feel like watching the city of Norman's own body cam footage, that's not necessarily the case. But you can go back, you can listen to our podcast, you can watch the footage in our Facebook group, The Last Clue, Facebook page, I apologize. And you can watch that body cam footage and determine for yourself.
Powell family, please do not watch it. If you have not, please just stay away from that. Now, the other defendants in this case, the men that were named, Landon Seacrest, Landon Hooper, and James Perdue, a couple of them have been dismissed without prejudice at this point in time. They can be recalled later, but I think we're just kind of, whittling down to where the Powell family is, wanting to get the bigger fish to fry. I hate saying it that way, but English is so hard today.
No, that's what it is. I mean, you're going after the one with the most accountability. That's where you're headed. It's climbing a pyramid.
Yes,
you're climbing a pyramid to the top, to the most accountability.
Yep, it is a marathon, not a sprint. So that is where we are in the Joe Powell case right now, and we will continue to bring you updates as we have them.
But next, we want to talk about a case that we will be covering for future episodes out of southern Oklahoma. Again, Dateline's not listening because they could have plenty of content.
What's going on in Oklahoma?
That we don't have enough time for that, but we have a case in southern Oklahoma that we will be covering in later episodes that has multiple suspects and still has not been solved.
Dun, dun, dun.
Back right after this.
Late night, headphones on, door locked, static fade.
All right, before we continue, I've got to talk about what has kept me personally going through all of these cases, a lot of them Oklahoma. But I need to talk about Fixed Coffee brand.
Oh.
I love this stuff. If you've listened to this show for more than 5 minutes, you know that I'm a coffee guy and I really am a dark roast guy. And this Shadow Ultra Dark Roast, oh my God, it's been jet fuel for me. I mean, when you're up reading case files at 2 o'clock in the morning, you've got to have something that keeps you awake. And this has been it for me. This Shadow Ultra Dark Roast from Fixed Coffee brand has been a savior.
Is that the one that smells like a campfire and you say tastes like a midnight crime scene and still somehow goes down smooth?
Yes, that is exactly the one. The Shadow, it's a single origin South American roast. It's bold. It's got a smoky taste to it. It's perfect for anybody that needs to stay sharp.
I need that. I need that. And you can save 15% off your first order by using coupon code Kyle Smith or by following the link in our episode description.
Then a quiet clock, name on a page, filed and forgot someone's whole life, trapped in a footnote.
So let's talk about this cold case out of southern Oklahoma. This is going to be something that we cover in future episodes. We're almost done recording this, but this will be a multi-part episode. We haven't decided how many episodes yet, but
it's going to depend on how many more questions come up as we are going through this, because there's a lot right now.
this is from 1984.
1984.
Children, this is from 1984.
The 1900s.
The 1900s, before computers were across the country and you didn't carry your phone in your pocket.
It's just sad that there are still cases this old, this bold, that are still unsolved.
So about 1 o'clock in the morning in November, we have the victim who was found in his vehicle, a Jeep, and engine running, headlights on, even the driver door was open. Mm-hmm. And here we sit in 2026, and we have relatively no answers.
None.
In this case.
Or do we?
Well, it's possible.
Well, we definitely have opinions.
So we've got, there's some witnesses to the case, but all the witnesses told us was that they heard some type of explosion or some type of loud noise. I think even one or maybe more of them said the word gunshot, but
you might just have to stay tuned for that one when those episodes come out.
But 1984, kids, we are going back in time.
Back in time.
Late night, headphones on, door locked, static fade.
We're back. Before we jump into the last case we're going to talk about today, I wanted to get into a little bit of listener email. Now, we love when you send us emails, and
yes,
we're not going to mention any names because it's a privacy thing. We just love getting emails, and it shows us that you're listening to the show. This is fantastic. So we did an episode back in the day. And this was, we're talking June of 2025. I believe we were still using the Temu mics and...
Yes, we absolutely were. We absolutely were.
Is the correct term dongle that plugged into my iPhone when we did that? I think it's a dongle.
I don't know. It's just a fun word. One more time?
Dongle. Kids, go look that up. Dongle. Anyway, we had a plug-in on my iPhone, and we had two little lavalier mics that I call them Temu. We didn't order them from Temu, but it's more fun. Funner?
More fun.
50th in education, folks. It's better to say the Temu mics. But we did an episode back in June of 2025 about the theory that may solve the Missy Beaver murder. And I've been called a lot of things.
Oh, and me too. We could probably do an entire premium content episode on what we've been called.
I'm okay with it. I've got thick skin. I don't care. I've got people close to me that probably call me worse than what I'm going to be called on the internet. So I don't care. But we got an email that someone had listened to the Missy Beavers podcast from June of 2025. Now, we both remember that case.
Yes, because I was really intrigued by what you had to say on your theory. I still think about it. I'm not even going to lie.
Well, we had one person tell us that I was a complete moron. And then in the same breath, I believe this was all on YouTube, but I had someone tell me that I was a complete moron for the theory that I put forward about Missy Beavers, and then turned around in the same breath, maybe 10 minutes later, and made another comment and said, I called with that same theory to a local DFW
You're a moron.
Radio show.
I said the same thing.
Radio show.
Well, pick your
and
lane.
they thought that my theory was good. And I was like, you realize that you just said I'm a moron for saying the exact same thing you did. But now you're patting yourself on the back for spouting out that same theory. Okay. But
People.
God, people are the worst and the best all at the same time. But one of the things about Missy Beavers, and it's been widely broadcast, this was something from NBC DFW. There was a vehicle that can be seen in the Missy Beavers video. It could belong to the killer, but there's also not enough information about that vehicle, because if you've seen that video, and if you're a true crime person, if you haven't seen the Missy Beavers video, it's haunting. It's haunting. You're talking about a young lady who was in the middle of setting up for a workout during a storm. So you've got all this gray and cloudy outside. You've got they're not the best cameras in the world, but they had cameras inside of this church where she's setting. So they're a little bit grainy. They're clear enough where you can see what you need to see, but they're not that clear. And you've got the suspect in full tactical gear walking around this church, checking doors, potentially busting glass, et cetera, et cetera. And they are doing this at a snail's pace. There is not a bit of fire in their walk. They are doing this so cold and so calculating, just walking around this church. Now, it's 4:00 in the morning, so you don't think that you're going to encounter anybody, but
Jesus doesn't sleep.
But there's a surveillance camera where you can see a car, and it's in the far corner of the frame, and it's kind of parked out in the distance. There's no chance you can make out the plate. None. The best technology in the world is never going to make out this plate. You might get close, but you're not going to make it out. And they won't release anything about that vehicle because the footage is way too grainy. But we've still got the Missy Beavers case out there.
We do.
And if you want to go back and listen to our thoughts about Missy Beavers and the theory that might solve the case, you can listen on prior episodes of The Last Clue wherever you podcast.
And thank you, listener, for sending us that email. As requested, we will keep your name anonymous. We are now going to move on to our next update case for the day. And I have to ask, are you ready to be angry?
I've been angry all morning long. I don't know why. I don't have any reason to be, but I have been angry all morning long. And I think it's because of this.
It could be, but it's also probably why I've kind of stayed away from you. And
now you're sitting right next to me. Dangerous territory for a true crime podcast.
Facing you. So there's that.
Where's that shovel?
I hit it.
I just said that on a podcast. Oh my God. I just became a suspect in something that hasn't happened.
Man, it better never. But if it does, you heard it here first. Well, we're going to go back to, sorry guys, this is not a laughing matter here, but let me just say this name, Jesse Mack Butler.
This kid.
Stillwater, Oklahoma.
You want to talk about someone who is affluent? This is almost the definition of affluence. I know that was a hot topic several years ago, but this kid has got away with almost every single thing he's done, allegedly. And here he is. And guess where he is now?
Home. Let's just tell you that back in March of 2025, Butler was arrested at the age of 17 and was charged as an adult with 11 counts, including first-degree rape, domestic assault and battery by strangulation, attempted rape in the first degree, and rape by instrumentation.
Against 2 high school students.
At the age of 17. So he had his day in court and was sentenced to 73 years, 73 or 78 years. But
70-something.
70-teen. But that sentence was commuted under the youthful offender status. So Jesse had to do counseling and rehabilitation and check-ins and things of the such up until his 19th birthday. And then they would determine where to go from there. Guess who just had his 19th birthday?
JMB.
And guess what happened?
He got to WALK.
He did. They determined that he has complied with all components of his youthful offender status and is being released from supervision.
Why? I mean, why is this kid? And the sad part of this whole deal to me is that you've got victims who have said in court, let's just quote it. Quote, I've had to explain bruises, explain silence, explain why I started isolating from people who love me, end quote. That is from one of the victims. That's in October of 2025 from court documents. That is one of the victims talking about what they had to do. And the mom of one of the other victims was saying that she had to prove that she was the victim over and over again,
which she should not have to do.
While this system made excuse after excuse for the person that hurt her. Now, the person that hurt her is home, walking free. You know where he's not walking? He's not walking to LSU.
No, he's not. There was a widely reported on social media that he was going to be going to LSU, and people were outraged, wanted to be aware, make everybody aware, tell your daughters, tell your children, sports.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Yes,
and I mean,
all
I'm
the
not
athletes
making
and
light of that at all. I mean, this was very serious. And the reason we bring that up, because if you go back to November of 2025, we released a special bonus episode along with some of the other coverage we had about Jesse Mack Butler called Social Media Lies.
Yes.
And we talked about in detail the misinformation on social media. I'm not going to toot my own horn, but toot. This was back in November of 2025 when we talked about don't believe all the social media lies. There were a lot of videos out there that were showing men grabbing women by the hair, dragging them. It didn't even have anything to do with the Jesse Mack Butler case. We warned you. We told you to be careful what you were sharing. And here, as we sit in August of 2026, the University of Louisiana State has to come out and say Jesse Mack Butler is not attending here. This rumor has gotten out that he's going to be a student on campus. He is not attending here. He is not enrolled here. To our knowledge, he hasn't visited here. They had to come out and say it. Stop spreading social media lies just to get likes.
You're
affecting people's lives. You're not only affecting what could be Jesse Mack Butler's status, you are affecting the lives of these victims. Every time you do this, make sure that if you're going to share something, make sure it's factually accurate. And that's why we work so hard on this podcast to do our due diligence. I'm getting mad. To do our due diligence and make sure that everything is accurate. When we make a mistake, we stand in front of it.
We do.
Don't put something out on socials that isn't accurate, knowing that you can just delete it or you can just ignore it. That's crazy talk. That's clickbait. Don't do that.
It's rage bait.
This is definitely rage bait.
Sorry. I do have to say, I had read something in the news reports when Jesse Mack Butler was having his final youthful offender status hearing. He was playing the victim in court. He wanted people to feel sorry for him.
Yeah.
There was I have to wonder if his ass is jealous of the shit that was coming out of his lawyer's mouth.
Possibly. And even his own mouth for that matter.
That's very true.
I mean, seriously, playing the victim when all this happens?
You've got a victim that literally had to have reconstructive surgery on her neck and was moments from death.
And do you know what happens when you point a finger at somebody? There's multiple fingers pointing back at you.
Back at you. So again, he is not attending LSU. He is not enrolled at LSU. LSU has come out and made this statement because social media. But it does also beg the question, was he at some point enrolled at LSU and considering going there? And then LSU had to say, whoa, go. Sorry, bye. But even if that was the case, he is not attending LSU. In response to all of this, there's a new DA in town.
Okay, now I'm excited because I'm not standing firmly behind him yet. But if I'm seeing what I think I'm seeing, this guy could be a genius. And I'm going to tell you, you're hearing it here first on The Last Clue.
I think we have his statement that I can read. But in any case, with him being the new DA in town, he is going to send this case for federal review.
I believe the quote is this, quote, "Therefore, my office will be submitting this case to the appropriate federal agency for prosecutorial review of this matter. I cannot undo what has already been done, but I can and will continue to stand as a strong voice for all victims of violent crime," end quote.
And this is the new DA, Jeremiah Gregory. People are asking, but how can you do that? Double jeopardy. Well, here's the thing. This was tried under youthful offender status or converted to youthful offender status in the state of Oklahoma. However, once it's referred to the feds, sorry, I just like saying that and sounding cool. Once it's referred over to the federal, they are a sovereign property. Allegedly. Where double jeopardy is not going to apply in this case because he was tried under the state of Oklahoma, who cannot try him again because that's where double jeopardy would come into play. But once it's referred to the federal government, that is not double jeopardy.
So Mr. Gregory might be my favorite new person.
Tell me why. Now, I know you had some thoughts on your mind. I have not heard anything that you're about to say. I don't believe I've heard anything you're about to say.
So I don't think if this is the plan from Mr. Gregory, and again, I am not standing firmly behind Mr. Gregory, but if this is the plan, then I'm all for it. I don't think that he is bringing the rape cases to the feds.
Okay.
I think we have a love for the TV show Big Brother. Big Brother, if you're listening. Big Brother's always listening. But the TV show, I think he's planning to backdoor Jesse Mack Butler. And here's why. One of the components of the Jesse Mack Butler case is that he had pornographic materials on his phone. Could potentially be a federal crime, depending on how many. Also, with having those, I know from court documents, he shared some of those potential pornographic images, which would be intent to distribute pornography. I don't think that he's going after Jesse Mack Butler directly for the rapes. I think he's taking that to the feds with the pornography charges to try to backdoor Jesse Mack Butler into getting some kind of justice for those families.
No, you had not shared those thoughts with me. And wow, okay. Yeah, that's...
Every once in a while, I have a light bulb go off. And when I saw, and you know this, when he said he was originally going to take that to the feds, I was like, big deal. He's going to take it to the feds. The feds are going to have connections in Oklahoma. This is going to go nowhere. It's going to go nowhere. They're going to make a show out of it, and then this case is just going to go away, and this kid's going to get to walk the streets with basically going through some type of probation. But as I thought about it, and as I remembered that he had these images and that he had allegedly shared some of these images, I think that the new DA in Logan and Payne County is going after the pornography charge to try to get some type of justice for the families involved. I firmly believe this. I think it's going to be plot twist.
Sign me. Man, you just blew my mind.
Late night, headphones on, door locked. static fade.
The Last Clue is a production of Smith Media Team, LLC. If you have any information about a case or cases you feel we should investigate, email us at info@smithmediateamllc.com.
Thank you for listening. Stay safe, stay aware, and as always, keep searching for the last clue.
Follow the